Okay, so at this point, we've done all of the very hard parts, right? And I shouldn't say very hard. None of the things that we did are that difficult aside from this piece. This piece, ugh, I hate it. But that's the hardest part. All of the, following parts are very easy. First of all, you will need to put this trigger guard in place first because, as you can see, at least on my kit, when it was, first manufactured, they did staking here. So just like on an AR, how you would do castle nut staking if you are paranoid about it walking off or anything, they do the same with the grip. And that may be actually necessary for fully automatic weapons where there is significant amount of vibrations and things of that nature. Don't go crazy on tightening. This is aluminum. This is aluminum. This is steel. I'm actually wondering if I should put anti-seize or something there, but I'm gonna leave it as is. I'm sure I'll learn if there's any issues. I don't want galvanic corrosion, but at the same time, I think that's just going a little paranoid. What you can do is bend this tab up, or this one. It interfaces with this square part. Again, it's just like castle nut staking. What I did is make this, very tight, hand tight. I did not use any wrench. Again, it's aluminum. I don't want to go crazy here and strip the threads. If I do, then, I guess good luck. The other thing I do want to mention is you're going to be most likely left over with a few pieces. And I don't want you to get paranoid about, oh, I forgot something. All of these are for rate regulators on a full automatic VZ61 or Scorpion. You don't need this for semi-auto. You do not need this for semi-auto. And I'm not even going to try to say what their names are because I'll probably get them wrong. You do not need this one. Again, we took this one off before installing the trigger. And in fact, if you don't take this off and you're assembling on Tortort, it will not fit. The trigger pack will not fit because there's no cutouts for it. You will not need this mushroom-headed pin. And you do not need this specific detent with this spring. And do not confuse this one with this detent. This detent you do need. This one is for the takedown pin. So I'll put them side by side. The left one you do not need, but the right one keep. Okay? And that's really, the pieces that you do not need for semi-automatic build. I will keep this one just because it adds a little bit of weight and heft to the grip, I guess. Not that it's going to be structurally improving anything, but I think it's cool. But it does nothing. I want to be sure that you understand. You will see it protruding up here, but it's not doing anything because it's semi-automatic. Before we do that, anything else, you will want to, put this grip on and try to get it, snug. Oh, this fell out. But don't worry if there's a slight gap here, just like here. First time I assembled it, there was a good, 3 millimeter gap. And I was like, oh no. But don't worry, we'll tighten that up right now. You do need this washer, and it's a little bit of a, spring washer. It goes right in there, right? And then you do need this. And again, if you did not put in, the washer came out, but if you did not put this in, you could probably get away without putting, well, you actually don't need the spring at all, because again, this spring is for the rate regulator. It goes in here, and since that mechanism doesn't do anything, the only reason I'm putting it in there is because I guess I want to. Not that, again, it will not do anything for us. But once that's get in there. All right. So we put the spring washer in there, and this just threads on. Okay. Like I mentioned, if you have a gap up here, not that you want to go Hulk crazy here, or, just going overboard with tightening, but what I did is just use this. And look at that gap. It's actually, if I had to guess, I don't have exact, foot pounds, inch pounds, but it's just little finger tight, a little more. You have a little leverage if you add the link there, but that's it. Look at that, and it's perfectly flush now. And again, the safety selector on mine is very stiff, and you can tell it's doing a number on the side there. It reminds me of the AK safety scratches. Doesn't bother me at all, you know, honestly, it kind of looks cool. And we can see that the bolt catch comes up. There we go. So we have finished the lower. I guess the only thing left is, if you did what I recommended, which was, or I can't even say recommended, but what I did personally, which is to tap and die the trigger guard instead of riveting, this would be the time that you would put the screw in. And it's a little awkward to get the angle right, but there we go. What I need now is in my case, a 2mm. There we go. And for sure, now that trigger guard's not going anywhere. Oop. Okay. It is an awkward access angle for sure. So, you know, keep that in mind. Anyway, you could use blue Loctite if you'd like. Personally, I don't really care for doing that, but it is very, very slightly protruding up here. Not that it's actually hitting anything, but yeah. Like I said, I used the 6mm screw. I got a kit that came with 4, 8. I found 6 to be the perfect middle ground. It's not going to get in your way of the finger. I mean, yeah, it does. You know, maybe you don't like this look. I personally don't care. I think it looks fine. But yeah, as you saw, the hammer pin or hammer retention pin just came off. Some of these things can actually fall out if you know, don't have the right parts installed. And by right parts, what I mean by that is the top receiver will retain that hammer pin. There's nowhere for it to go.